My guest today, the Right Reverend Eddie Mills.
Oh, well, just
What?
Brother Mills. Brother Mills. That's not.
No, I was telling you before we started, one thing that I want to teach my kids is consistency. And I've been knowing you for 20 plus, probably 22 years, going on 22. And one thing that you have been is a very consistent person in every aspect that I can think of. Any relations that we've had, you've been very consistent. So just can you get on some of that? Or maybe my first question would be, why are you doing what you're doing now?
Why am I doing what I'm doing now? Oh, it starts with consistency thing. A lot of that was kind of ingrained in me through my father. Being young and really, he had some health issues and had to work through some difficult times. But even at a young age, we were working at the age of 13, 14 to help provide things for the home. Mm-hmm. And so there was a work ethic that he instilled in us, and to do something, do it the right way, do it consistently, and be out there in the community and things like that. And of course, in my days, we wasn't confined to the home like children are today. And I think one of the greatest struggles for children today is the confinement, because parents are fearful of the child to be outside the home.
Yeah.
And when the kids need to be outside, playing with other kids, working with the community or doing something. And the more outside they can get, they don't stay inside themselves. And a lot of kids are locked inside themselves because they're not outside. When I say outside, I don't mean just outside in the yard. I mean outside in society. And the more, as you look at young people staying locked inside, they see everything from the inside. And when you see everything from the inside, it always tend to be whatever your emotion is of that moment or that day or that week or that month or whatever you're struggling with. Yep. Your emotions be interpreted through the inside. But the more you get out, see other people, see other things, and watch life unfold and life do this and life do that, you get a well-rounded view of life, and you won't tend to just kind of pull in. You'll be willing to kind of push out. And so if we can get our kids away from the TV, away from the iPads, away from the games, and away from just staying in this locked environment at home, and get out and experience life in the right way, they'll learn some consistency in life. And so Dad, we was out doing all kind of stuff, and as even a young man, I was kind of thrown into adult life at the age of 14, having to work.
Right.
Now it's part of life. And so even at the very beginning, even though that might not sound very spiritual as far as like a Bible principle, as far as thou shalt not this or thou shalt not that, right. It was everything about the Bible, because you're out there doing something, And there's somewhere in Proverbs says, man that's diligent in life. Well, I don't remember how the rest of the verse goes, but just look up the word diligent, and he that's diligent in matters will be able to do something later.
Yeah. And
so at the very beginning, just the very basic thing of having a home where we just sit inside the house the whole day.
Right.
And I realize our society today has got some hindrances to allow our children to be out and about on a regular basis, like part of what you grew up in.
Yep.
But when we grew up, they were saying the light pole was, when the light pole and the lights came on, that's when you came home.
That's right.
So we were outdoors every day experiencing life.
Right.
And you just learn life.
So part of that consistency was almost a requirement when you were growing, like you were right there.
It was
so, so your dad was in the home, and he was, hey, we're going to do, and that was part of the provision.
I'd go to work with him during the summer when school was out. We'd go to work with him.
What kind of work, John?
Well, he worked on a soft drink route. He sold soda, but it was a special brand down in Winfield that's not even found up here. It's called Whistle soft drinks. And he was getting ready to buy the whole company out. He had the vision for it. And but he had a heart attack, and he lost his business. He had his own private routes, private truck runners and stuff like that.
Right.
And so we moved to Alabama. That's when we moved to Alabama in my 6th grade year.
Now, where was that? Where was the whole Whistle
And down in Winter Haven, Florida.
Winter Haven, Florida.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
well, that's where we lived, but the company was in Tampa, I think.
Okay.
And it's still there today, but it's never really branched out. But it's got some of the sweetest flavors. Like,
Oh, so it's still
there.
going. So if you want Whistle
Soft drink.
soda,
yeah.
get to Tampa.
Yeah, and people use it even for snow cones. Like if you needed grape or strawberry, I mean, they had all the flavors way back in the day before all these other companies ever came out with, the Fanta and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So he had a big vision for the company to really expand it.
Mm-hmm.
He even had the vision to go to tin cans. Just where everything was glass bottles, even before Coca-Cola did. He was wanting to go into the tin, and but he had his heart attacks, and so he lost his business. We had to move up to Alabama to be close to family. And that's when he started some other work, and with my brother-in-law, who's a mechanic, and he started a foreign auto shop. And I worked with him when I first got out of the Air Force to come to Bible school here. And he had $1 million business on 19th Street right across from the Civic Center.
Wow.
We were selling parts all across the nation, So, but anyway, so he had a way of doing things, and it was always being out and about, with the community.
Right.
And he was always a people person. To be in sales, you got to be a people person.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned to be a people person through my dad.
So him just pulling you around.
Pulling me around. I cannot sit at a machine and sit there and operate something.
Right.
I would go back. So I've got to be out and
Right.
about,
Right.
talking to somebody, doing something. And so I did sales for him for a couple of years. When I first got out of the Air Force, went my way through Bible school and never sold a part day in my life, and or worked on a car a day in my life. But he gave me the parts book and said, "Here's parts. Learn the numbers and go out there and build a route." And so I went from town to town with a big truck, saying,
Mm-hmm.
"I've got all the parts on the truck. I'll be here every Monday morning or every Tuesday morning. If you need something, here I am." And within 6 months, I had built up a route throughout the whole Southeast, selling parts, and did that until my dad died in '84.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
but a people person.
Yeah. And learning that consistency.
Learn that
Man, that's
consi-
something I've
Yeah.
from people that I've interviewed and talked to, that having that stable environment at
Home
home
environment.
and getting that training, pulling you along, being diligent.
Yes,
And,
everything about life is, I think today is what's kind of missing. A lot of families are dependent on schools to raise their children, or relying on some other source to raise the children. And really, it's got to be a home environment. And not everybody's going to learn the same things from home. I mean, you won't learn what my father taught me because, you're in sales, you would learn. But,
yeah.
there's things that, everybody will learn from the home. And once they learn that from the home, it opens up doors for them to learn other things.
Yeah.
But it begins with that consistency at home.
Yeah.